We are in the lab. We are in the lab. Greetings, greetings, greetings. This is Ron Talbot, and we have some special guests. Again, always, all our guests are always special. And this is someone who's no stranger to our black media and to you all in the state of Georgia and also in Savannah, Georgia. And that is Dr. Robert Bryant. Glad to have you here with us, Dr. Robert Bryant.
Yes, sir. Glad to be here.
Someone else will be joining us, and that is Captain. I call him Captain, but you know he's Major Anthony Phillips. Some call him Tony Phillips, one of the great activists here in the city of Savannah, doing a lot of things. I should again, out in the city of Savannah, but throughout the entire state of Georgia. And we're waiting on him to come in, but it's some things because I want him to introduce himself, and we're gonna go to our traditional stuff we do, but got some important things happening. Some important things are happening right now. We have some important things. It is called elections. Elections are happening. Elections are happening. We have elections in the United States of America. We have national elections, but also we have local elections. We have state elections going on, state elections across the entire country. And we see, again, people clamoring right now with regards to, they say, the defeat of Cori Bush, you know, with regards to her in the primaries in Missouri, and then we see Jamal Bowman in New York, and people like clamoring about that. And so we're going to be discussing some of that, and again, why all of this is important. And so, my brother, Dr. Robert Bryant, your thoughts with regards to some of this right now?
Wow. Yeah, I always start with what I have started using the word investment when we think about voting. I think people have their philosophies on do I vote, do not vote, why is it important to vote, all of that. You need to think about it as a investment. So voting becomes an investment because we tend to want to think about how does this person impact me. But you got to think about how does that investment that you have called a vote impact communities and the world and the nation. I'll use this as I'm pretty comfortable. But I mean by comfortable, I don't have $1 million. I'm not Donald Trump. I don't have all that stuff. But I eat well. I have a roof over my head. I can go buy the clothes I want. I can go out to eat if I want to. But that mom who may have 3 children and having to work 3 jobs, she may not have the same privilege I have. So using that investment in my privilege in a way that uplifts others is so important. We got to stop thinking about how does it help me and think about our neighbor next door. So how do you use that investment in that privilege to better not just the things around you, but your next door neighbor and the people in your community?
So I'm gonna say this to you, Dr. Bryant. Just go ahead and just make the beginning statement that you made regarding investment, because we now have Major Phillips with us. I call him Cap Phillips. He's with us, Anthony Phillips, so that way he can hear, and so we can be engaging in some of this. Cause I got to get the people know who he is too. But go ahead. I think that's an excellent point what you said in the very beginning.
You want me to carry?
Just the beginning of what you said, what you call voting. So.
Right. So, Brother Phillips, so I was talking about voting as an investment, right? So we look at money and we think about investment in that way, but that vote is our investment in bettering community.
Okay. And what we're gonna do, Major Phillips, I gotta let you know, we always do our people on here. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And then also we're gonna condense it down for you. Who are you and who your people? Who your people?
I'm a concerned citizen, and everybody's my people. I love people, period. I love fairness of play, and I want every man to prosper in his own way. That's who I am. I'm a soldier by trade.
Who your family? You know what the black folks go. You know, black people go and say that. See, that's that Albany State education going on right now. So he don't want to be real. Like, who your people? You know, who your family? That what people need. We want people to make them connections so they understand Dr. Bryant. They already know because he done been on here several times. People know his people. So we got you now, Major Phillips.
Well, I'm originally from a little small country town over in Worth County, Sylvester, Georgia. My parents were all educated at Albany State. I was educated at Albany State. My parents got their masters from the University of Boston back in the 50s. They came south and settled in Worth County. They were educators, and they made sure that I at least had an opportunity to receive a decent education. That's why they sent me to the Albany State University. I'm a 23-year soldier. I'm a retired Army officer. I was an infantry officer. I used to be the professor of military science at Savannah State in Armstrong. I served in that capacity for the last 7 years of my military career. It's been a good thing for me. Savannah has actually been good for me. My wife's from here. My wife is the former Donna Bowers. She's now Dr. Donna Bowers Phillips. We live here. My church is here. I'm a local elder in my church. Mm-hmm. I'm a praying man, and the Lord has blessed me. To whom much is given, much is required, and that's kind of how I live my life. I don't have everything that I want, but I have everything that I need. And for what He's given me in life, I try to use that to help others. This is just a vineyard that He's assigned me to. So I'm working in this vineyard, and I like the statement that I heard from Dr. Bryant. He was talking about your vote and what that really means to you. It means a lot to us, socially and economically. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to our race as a people of Africans. So I'm really right now focused on voter education, because I need people to understand that if they don't vote, that is a vote. And I need people to know that. I need people to know that there are some evil people out there that are trying to turn back the hands of time. And in many ways, we're still enslaved. Just that mindset that I don't want to vote. I'm not voting. I'm really, really trying to figure out, how do you get there?
Right.
That you don't understand this process and how it works, And we all know now that the process is not equal. It's not a level playing field. Mm-hmm. But the more people that we have to come out and vote is a step toward leveling that playing field. And we truly need that now. When you look at what MEGA has been doing and what they are doing, we need to combat that now. And I do see a groundswell where people are recognizing that whatever differences we have, we need to set them all aside. And we need to attack this one foe, this one enemy, and save democracy. And that's what I'm all about right now. I mean, truly. That's what
Okay.
I'm all about.
All right. So, Cap, Major, I'm gonna let you know. I had let the cat out the bag. I had told Dr. Bryant, I said that you are a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, and I said don't he try to jump on you because he's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I'm just saying, I told him not to do that. You said put it aside. As you heard, Dr. Bryant, cast your barrels to the side. Cast your barrel to the side.
Well, I won't jump on Brother Phillips. I'll jump on Brother J. Jones instead.
Oh man, but he is my brother, and
I know. That's why I give him all the hell.
So I can't let you lead up on him either, okay?
And I'm gonna say this, Major Phillips, he's trying to get me killed. That he wasn't even gonna say nothing about Dr. Phillips. He wasn't gonna say nothing about Dr. Phillips. My sorrow was not gonna be like, Now I know Jamal, and let him just go and just like talk like that, and don't say nothing about me, because they are awesome tandem. Let y'all know the Phillips are awesome tandem. They've been an awesome tandem for decades here. So that's why I say no way possible. I'm gonna let him just sit on there like, oh, I'm sorry. So, no, because y'all know that family. So Dr. Brian stepped out, but we were gonna throw something out there.
Check that out.
And so, all right, and
I
that's
saw
what.
this for you earlier than that. This is Savannah State right here, Savannah State, 1953.
So Mrs. Bryant, Sarah Bryant, she Alpha Gamma, she's Alpha Gamma. But now I'm gonna share with y'all something that happened today. Earlier today, I was in the restaurant, and so there's this sister who is an astute sister. She looks at information, and she also heard information, and she said, asked me, said, personally, where do I stand with regards to Umar, what Umar Johnson said, and just with regard to telling people saying, hey, not to vote. As I shared, again, and Captain Phillips said, we can be separate boats, but then actually we know we're going in the same direction. We're going to the same, we're trying to get to the same place. But then we're not going to let that destroy us. But I said, well, Umar, I consider him a brother, a friend, but I cannot agree with him telling folks to sit this out because it is too crucial right now. When you hear things about police officers having immunity and people clamoring about Sonia Massey and what happened to her, can you imagine? It's not just even somebody killing you, but somebody maiming you, somebody basically committing infractions against you, and your family has no recourse and you have no recourse. So we can't do that. And that going to alluded to a part of what Dr. Brian said and Major Phillips said, that again, this is a part of our destiny right here. This is part of the work that we must be a part of. And so with that, so I'm going to say again, you threw some of it out there, Major Phillips. What do you say to that person who's sitting out there, who's listening to people saying, I need to sit this out. I need to sit this out. And that is on a national level and a local level. What's your thoughts with regards to that?
Well, anyone that says that they want to sit this out, that is a selfish person by nature. It is completely selfish to say that I'm going to set out one of the most important things to humanity, one of the most important things to all of America. We're literally in a fight for democracy. We are trying to save democracy, and they don't understand the privileges that democracy offers them. And these are privileges that our forefathers and our ancestors fought for. And we're still fighting for it. And that's the other thing that troubles me. Don't you know that we are still in a fight? Some of us believe that we have arrived and we got ours and we really don't need anybody else. But that is not the case. What you have can be taken. And what you need to understand is if we don't come together now, they're going to be empowered to take everything that you have. Try not to call any names, but the former president tried to instill martial law on several occasions. If he could have on January 6th said, okay, listen, I'm going to invoke martial law now. I don't think people realize that martial law will shut down everything. You cannot move. And they have the ability to confiscate everything for the good of the state. So when he tells you that he wants to be a dictator, he wants to invoke martial law. And he's tried to do it before. He just didn't have the grounds or cause to do it. But if the way things are going, the way we are divided, they are working and agitating their way to a civil war. And once that happens, he's going to seize control of the military through martial law. And when that happens, it's over. We will become something other than a democracy.
Excellent point. Excellent point. And many people don't talk about that. And so I am absolutely ecstatic that you brought this up and that we're on the cusp of, and I've shared with folks that we are dealing with democracy right now. This is about saving democracy right now. This is an election for democracy, not a dictatorship. And so we have to be sensitive about this. And it is frightening that, again, I tell folks, if you see an executive branch, you see a legislative branch and a judicial branch that all had the same mindset, we see the loss of privileges and rights. And just like you threw it out there, that's why I tell folks, you can even probably see that the 13th and 14th Amendment basically being revoked with regards to statutory policies and judicial policies right now that put us in a shattering position that will not only impact us, but also the next generation. And so with that, I tell folks, we got to be clear about what's going on, that this is not just something that is fanciful, that is just a presidential election. Even on the local side, why are the local elements with regards to this election also important, Cap? Cap Phillips, were you able to hear me?
No, we were broken. You came in and I lost the last part of that.
Okay. Oh, but I was sharing that again. You thrown out there, and I've shared with folks that this is about democracy. That we see a political party that is basically anti-democracy. That is again going against the very vestiges of what this society's government has been about: democracy, a government led by the people for the people. But then we see people not trying to share it, so it's only for a certain element. And that with regards to that again, it's not fanciful that we tell people to go out, to get out there to vote, and why this is important, because we're looking at something that I shared, that we are looking at having an executive branch, a legislative branch, and a judicial branch that will basically shatter all vestiges of what we have known, and that we can see the possible revoking of the 13th Amendment and the 14th Amendment. And so with you, I said, why is not only just the national election important, why is the local elections also important? Well, look like we lost Captain Phillips. So Dr. Bryant may come back in, and Captain Phillips, Major Phillips may come back in also. But again, throwing it out there to you right now.
Oh, okay. But listen, why don't we go ahead to a commercial break for Chairman and CEO Hall takes us out.
Well, I was going to do in 20 minutes, but go ahead, sir. Just go ahead.
We have Telegram. We need to do it. Hold on.
I was going to do it 20.
Hello, I'm Richard Coleman, and I'm running for the office of Sheriff of Chatham County. And when I'm elected, I promise to inspect what I expect. Chatham County, it's time for a change, and that change is me, Richard Coleman.
I'm Patty Hewitt, and I'm worried about our future.
Last one.
I think about my grandkids and the belief that they deserve every opportunity. And what you deserve, what coastal Georgia deserves, is someone who cares more about their community than about corporate profits and big pharma.
I'll see you later.
All right, thank you. Small business owners and hardworking Georgians are the heart of our community.
Good day.
Not CEOs, not lobbyists, not shareholders. But who's taking care of them? It's time to ask yourself, what do you want from your government? This is our year to stand up against what we know is wrong. No more DC politicians invading our home life. No more racism that kills dreams and spreads violence. And no more corporate greed at the expense of workers' rights and our environment.
So what would be the most meaningful help to you?
I've spent the last 8 years working behind the scenes, mobilizing our communities for positive change. And while that is really important work, I can't stand by and allow the same tired politicians to run this country, the same ones who've neglected the real needs of Georgians. I'm ready to take our seat in Congress so I can fight for you and your families.
I vote for you.
Thank you, my darling. I love you. This isn't about party lines. This is about voting for a better future for more Georgians. Enough is enough.
See, if it was left up to me, we would be airing a commercial right now. Taking a break right now. But that's what happened. He wants to run, tell that. That's what he wants to do. And to my brother Jack Silas, that you said that Major Phillips' mic got flooded out by the rain. Guess what? That's tied to what's going on. No, it got flooded out because of Julius Hall. That's why it got flooded on out. So we're going to go right back to the question that we were posing, that I would have had some time on. Why are the local elections important? Why is that significant to us? Major Phillips.
All elections are important to us, but let me say some things here that uh, I want everybody to know. I would tell you that um, they want us to run the local government because they don't want us to tamper with law when it's being made. So local nonpartisan elections, they encourage us to do that. But when it comes to congressional districts and U.S. Senate, uh, they don't want us to vie for that because that's where they are trying to change democracy. But to run a local government, uh, we need people in place um, to help those who really are not in a position to sustain themselves. So local government is just as important. Um, but I would say that we need to have a stronger conversation about who's us locally, and how they're leading us locally, and what our priorities are locally. And I think all of these things should be discussed before we approach an election year. Um, you know, I think that, and this is just Phillips and his thoughts, that sometimes people take office and they stay in office. But office should be like a river. The more people pass through, the more knowledge is passed. And, we don't want to be some big, great, stale lake that's just sitting there and festering with mosquitoes. We don't want to become that. We want to become something that's vibrant and that's moving and that's changing and that's helping people. And in order for us to have that, that means that as a community, we must have dialogue. And if we're not having dialogue one with the other, it won't happen. And we have dialogue, but we have dialogue in pockets. We don't necessarily support everything that's available to us because somebody else doing that. We not doing that, so we're not going to be a part of that. We got to get past that. And see, one of the things that got us to where we are, my parents didn't deal with that. You know, there was one solid movement, the civil rights movement. They dealt with that, and they understood that in order to deal with that, they all had to be unified. We don't necessarily do that, and that's a problem. So if we really want to get down to how people have gotten and become the way they are, is because we're separated and we don't communicate. If you got an answer for that, I'll take it.
Well, what I was going to share is just like, because we have Charles Morris checking out the show, and he said, leave Julius out of this right here. No, Charles Morris, if Julius Hall is anything with regard to what we do on Run Tell That, we will discuss that because we have to bring it out in the open. And so, but it also goes to something that Julius Hall also talked about, the silos that we tend to operate in silos and not working collectively, just like you were saying, Major Phillips, and that becomes an issue. Because again, I tell folks, the enemy and the oppressor likes that. They like for us to work in silos as opposed to people coming together, regardless of ethnicity, financial status, marital status, familial status, employment, educational status. That again, they don't want us coming together because again, we truly will go on and do the needs, take care of the needs of the people, taking care of the least and the left out, and also advancing society. You said not being a stagnant lake or pond, but then also be a vibrant river that goes into and brings about an ocean of opportunities. And so you shared something, you discussed something about voter education. Why is voter education essential with regards to an electorate?
Well, let's talk about the first congressional district. Just being more specific, I think the first congressional district represents 15 counties in southeast Georgia, and we are one of those counties. And Chatham County uh, pretty much is a Democratic county, and Liberty County is a Democratic county. But those other 13 counties are not. but they have the potential to be Democratic counties. We need to go and educate people in those counties because that's where voter suppression is most prevalent. We are here and we are working here to overcome it here, but there they 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 are afraid, some of them, to come out because they're in rural situations where they're working for a family or an owner. They are not as modernized as we are here. Um, we really need to go out and begin to work with those counties and those places for voter registration and voter education, especially if it's our goal to overcome what we're dealing with here in the first congressional district. I think the current congressman that we have has been there, what, 13, 14 years? It's been there a long time. He's been there far too long. And I think he's made over $20 million in the time that he's been there. He's a pharmacist. And so I must tell you that, he made that off our backs. He made that because he was privy to information and used it to uh, his gain, not our gain, his gain. So if we are going to make a difference, that's a place where a difference needs to be made in these rural counties that are in the first congressional district. We need an effort to go out right now and start registering and educating people to vote. So, you know, that's just something that I see. You know, that's what I see.
And it's absolutely insightful what you are seeing and what you're talking about, because one of the things that we have shared previously on other platforms and other times that we've had opportunity to speak, that with regards to that, we look at our congressman, but then and he moves from being a mayor and then moving on up to the state house and then now going on to the federal government, but he made his wealth off of the very things that the Republican Party goes against. And I'm like saying, wait a minute, he still makes money off of it. So again, you see again the surface level actions that are being done, the surface level sincerity that's going on, and that we have to be, that what you say, voter education, that people being astute enough to understand it. Like, why would you oppose some of this right here? Why would you oppose Medicaid expansion? Why would you oppose Medicare? Why would you oppose certain things that, again, many Republicans going to spit out, and you get a benefit from these people with low cost pharmacy with regards to your business ventures? That again, it is sad, but again, an electorate not holding people accountable. And so that's what we want to now move towards. What are the things, what are some of the things, the steps that we need to be doing, with regards to bringing about a change with regards to this, Cap?
Well, let me say this. The state of Georgia is literally performing an act of genocide by not increasing Medicaid. So that is that's a big problem, and you know, I'm just saying that we're in the medical field, and we see people every day that need to be seen, they need help, but they can't get the help because there are some doctors out there that don't take Medicaid. And the reason they don't take it is because in the state of Georgia, they don't pay. What Georgia does is return. 11 states in the union return their Medicaid appropriation from the federal government. They send the money back. Therefore, people don't get the care that they need. So you are having people that are dying off because they can't get the medical attention that they need. This is an act of voter suppression. That's what it is. So, I've learned that, you know, by any means necessary is what they're doing. By any means necessary. Um, and I guess the foolish thing for me is I don't understand why, um, you know, uh, more people don't see it or step up why they continue to vote for this. If you look at the state demographics, there are more Caucasians in the state of Georgia that need Medicare, Medicaid than African Americans, but yet they vote to suppress themselves. They need education. So, this war has been going on a long time. The senator from West Virginia, I want to say back in 53 or 54, made this big speech in saying that, they're going to fight today and they're going to fight tomorrow. They're going to fight forever. And that's what they're doing. And I don't understand, really, what are you fighting for? What is it that you want? We're not going anywhere. The world has changed. You don't want to accept the change, but the world has changed. And that's why people need to understand why if that's your vote guarantees that, the good, effective changes that we are making, the strides that we are making, we'll be able to keep them. And we need to make other changes. They're talking now about these Supreme Court justices not being able to having terms. 7-year-old, 90-year-old judge trying to make a decision about today. He didn't understand what's going on in the world today. He's looking at a brief, and he's making a decision. And he's making that decision based on who he was 50 years ago, not who we are today. So we need to make some changes right there. That's a definite change we need to make. We need to have some terms. We need to go back to the original Congress. The original Congress, you can only serve 2 years. You serve 2 years, you go home. Somebody else comes. We need to go back to that. Now we have guys staying in for 20 years, 30 years, and they get a nice little pension. If they stay in, they meet the 20-year threshold, they get a nice little pension. I'm all for pensions, but I'm not for a congressman going to Washington, D.C. and serving 20 years. He made a living on us. And we need to send people up there that are looking out for our best interests, not their best interests. So don't get me started, Jamal. You're not being fair right here. You know how I feel about this stuff.
That's why we got you on. That's why, again, this is so important, so essential. Because I had shared with our producer Julius Hall, who Charles Moore's trying to look out for. I said to him, "Got to have somebody who was not afraid to give their thoughts." And because again, it is necessary. It is for all the people checking out the show. Again, we say thank you to all of you and support our sponsors. But then it is essential that we have people on here who can talk, who will give the information that is necessary for people's minds out to not open up and their minds' ears to open up also for them to hear and to see. Because again, what happened in a society or with certain governments, they understand that how do you keep the electorate down? You distract them, you miseducate them, you mislead them, you misguide them, you entertain them. And so what then happens is that now they're not focused on the real agendas that are going on that will impact them for generations. And then they like for the chicken with their head cut off trying to find out what's going on. But then all this also like an ostrich also whose heads are stuck in the sand, not understand the world around them. And so when you talk about the Supreme Court justices, essentially, that's where they're isolated and they're in this other world, in this other cocoon. And but then we go something that you brought up. We need to go back, people talk about the original intent. The original intent, when you talk about say the original Congress, how Congress initially was, that again, you're going to see, again, vibrancy was needed. Understand it. In this society to have growth, you got to have vibrancy. Not, again, as the stale, use the phrase, the staleness that happens. And so we are at that point right now that we have a society that is now want to become, want to go back in time, become entrenched in how it used to be when we should be going forward. Because you look at all other societies and countries around the world, that's what, again, they make advances because they go forward. People they marvel at what Japan has done. Japan went forward as opposed to saying, hey, we're going to hold on. We have Japan has existed long before the United States. And they understand their traditions, but then also going forward. So what are the things that you like to see individuals who are checking out the show right now what would you what would you like for them to be involved in and for them to do?
Well, you know, it's what you can do where you stand. You can educate somebody where you stand. Um, we don't like to acknowledge to people that maybe they should turn their head and look in another direction. There may be something over there that's better. We don't communicate with people that way. So when I hear someone say, "Well, man, I'm not voting," or when I hear someone say, "Well, I like the other candidate," I ask why. And I ask why in terms of maybe I'm missing something. What is it that I'm missing? Why do you like that candidate better than this candidate? And once I'm able to hear them, then I'm most of the times I'm able to point some things out that maybe you didn't consider these things. You know, um, maybe you want to look at this. Now understand, um, you're not gonna win everybody. Everybody's not gonna see it the way you see it. You know, and I have to accept that, and I'm learning to accept that because, you know, I just I don't like how um, some of these people feel emboldened to disrespect um, people, period, whether they be white or black. But I definitely don't like the fact that they disrespect black women. I just don't like that, you know. And I think that we probably need to educate some of our black men to understand that, you know, if you allow them to do it, they're gonna do it. So, you know, I encourage everybody to speak up and understand what the truths are, what the facts are, and why it is that democracy is under attack, and why it is that we need to defend it, why it is that we need to step up right now. You know, uh, some of us have just been on the sidelines too long. I admit I've been on the sidelines because, you know, I didn't want to invade anybody else's space. But you know, I can see now that I probably need to invade some of these folks' spaces. So they'll, you know, either they're going to move, get out the way, or do their job. You know, they need encouragement. They need motivation. They need help to stand up and speak for what's just. And what we have right now is not just. You know, when you look at this 900 page plus document, Project 2025, there are a couple things in there that I think all minorities need to understand, that that CAPS program is something that was designed to help someone, a child, to get off to a good start in life. That's why they call it Head Start. And if they're going to cut that program out, that means that a child whose parents cannot afford to send them to a private school because they cut that program out, they won't be able to get off to a head start, a good start in life. We can't allow that. We cannot allow that to take place. It's hard enough as it is. So we need to stand up right here. This is where we need to draw the line, right here. We don't need to draw it any further back. We don't need to draw it any closer. We need to draw it right here. You know, for me, this is Operation Pushback. This is where it starts, right here. And all of us need to be involved in it. Every one of us. You know, we have a problem raising money to put the right people in place. Nobody wants to give. Man, I know at least 1,000 people in Savannah can give $200 to help. You know,
Cap.
yeah.
Well, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna come right back to this point. That's something you went into it, but we're gonna come right back. We're gonna do a break. We're gonna be right back. This is One Tell That with Major Anthony Phillips. We're gonna be right back.
Oh, I mean, my friend, your Savannah homeboy, Clarence Thomas, made sure that I don't go to prison.
Need your garments cleaned with care and with a professional touch? Then bring them to One Price Cleaners in Garden City at the Old Farmers Market on Highway 80. Service you can count on.
Hello, I'm Richard Coleman, and I'm running for the office of Sheriff of Chatham County. And when I'm elected, I promise to inspect what I expect. Chatham County, it's time for a change, and that change is me, Richard Coleman.
This is Ron Tell that we have with us Major Anthony Phillips, and we say support all our sponsors: Davis Johnson Bozeman Law Firm, offices in Savannah, Atlanta, and Statesboro. One Price Cleaners located in the Farmers Market in Garden City on Highway 80. Kim's Cafe at 714 MLK Jr. Boulevard. Chef Food and Gas, don't ride by, stop by. But I gotta share this. Did y'all just notice that we had a Run Tell That commercial was coming up and they automatically wiped it on out? Charles Morris, this is why I do what I do. I see the absolute discrimination. I see the absolute hatred. Major Phillips already said we shouldn't have these differences, but guess what? They manifest this with Our Black Media. Run Tell That, as y'all know, is the little brother show of all the shows on Our Black Media. So, Major Phillips, all right, we'll bring him back in. So, Major Phillips, you will bring up a point. I want you, because again, we had a conversation about this. So you can go back over, share again with the audience your thoughts and opinions with regards to this.
Regards to fundraising?
Yes, sir. What you were talking about, because I think it is essential. Because I want us not to have a break on that. I think it is essential.
Well, let me say this. Let's think about the things that we need. Let's think about the things that we need to educate ourselves and to protect ourselves. One, we need to have the capability to do digital marketing. Young people are on social media, so we need to be able to create these digitized areas that we can market. That takes money and it takes equipment to do that. And we need to create it in such a way that it's mobile. We need to go to a community and to be able to reach people in that community. Not just Savannah, but there are communities in Savannah that we need to be able to reach. I think there are 58 or 59 different communities within the greater Savannah area that we need to reach. We need to reach everybody. And in order to do that, it takes funds to do that. The other thing is we need to have staff. We need staffers that need to be paid. And, they're making a sacrifice for time, their normal jobs, their normal lives. We need to be able to give them a stipend. It's a lot of work, but there are no funds. And I know that people believe that the National Democratic Party funds these things, but they don't. They don't give anything here. And I think one of the things that irks me more than anything else, they send a representative that knows nothing about us to lead us. And there have been people here forever that's been doing this work forever, but they haven't taken the time to develop rapport or relationship with those individuals. So that's something that we need to advocate for. But first of all, we need to advocate that we sustain ourselves. And there has to be 1,000 people here, or maybe more. Maybe I'm thinking too low. Maybe 5,000 people that'll give $200 to this effort in this I can tell you it would make a difference. I would tell you it would set us apart from every other or from every other community in the state of Georgia. You know, um, we could we could do a lot here uh, to change the state of Georgia just by what we do right here in the first congressional district. That kept us from having a Democratic voter governor uh, could have come out of the first congressional district. So I can tell you, you know, as I see it, we need to be out there work those education.
You're going through a bad zone,
Yeah.
Cap. Going
If I could, I think I heard the brother correctly, and I just hop in when you need me, because Julius Hall make me stay backstage. If not, I don't get paid. But but he's right, and one of the things, you know this, brother Trey, that I'm really proud to report. Brother Phillips is right in that the Democratic Party has invested and started listening a little better, because I've been one of the main critics about making sure that we have boots to ground people here. Not only that are white people, but people that look like us that can go into the first district and go into fifth district and talk and be credible. One of the things I'm proud to report too, in Brunswick and in Savannah, you have two African Americans, myself and Kayla, who's in Brunswick. Brother Phillips, I'm speaking to your point here, that you're exactly right. The Democratic Party needs to invest in making sure they had people that had credibility with communities like ours, right? So they have invested in myself. I'm a paid staffer for the Harris Waltz campaign. We have a young sister down in Brunswick, and for coastal Georgia, we're the two African American people, which is much better than what we've seen in the past. Now, I'm not saying that they've never done that, but it's really important, like you said, Brother Phillips, that we have people that can go into our communities and be credible, and people listen to. And so what that looks like is not only just us eating, but making sure Sister Edwards is utilizing her facility for events, and that we're making sure that our communities understand that we have resources in our community. We don't have to go downtown. We don't have to go to the white man's places to eat and dine. That we have our own stuff that we can invest in us. So, I'm taking that a little broader than what it needs to be, but my philosophy is, let's make sure that we spread the wealth and make sure that while we have these opportunities, we expand them to people that can benefit the community long after the campaigns.
and to chime in with regards to and what Major Phillips was discussing, he said that a group of us right here, 1,000 or 5,000 of us here, could put $200 together. Mm-hmm. And the impact that will have. And so that's why Major Phillips, you were zoning in and out. If you just want to rehash some of that, what you were saying, that again, because you said that, and like we could do it ourselves.
Well, we need to do it ourselves. We need to be self-sustaining. And in order to be self-sustaining, we need to agree that we need to be self-sustaining. And the problem we have is, one, how are we disseminating the information? Well, we need to address that. We need to make sure that the information is disseminated and that people understand what our goals and objectives are. And we need to put it in writing so people can see it and understand what they're giving to and why they're giving to it. We need to do that. And I think that that movement is underfoot, it's moving, but we need to be able to reach 5,000 people or more that we already know they have the means. They can do it if they so choose. We can make a sacrifice. We make a sacrifice to do everything else. We can make a sacrifice to give $200. That's not a lot. That's not asking a whole lot to defend your way of life. If you appreciate your way of life, it's not a lot to ask for.
Yes, sir. You called it out. And you also alluded to something else earlier, and I want us to just explore a little bit your thoughts with regards to this, that with regards to, again, voting and elected officials, how they impact education, because we say that education, so often people say education is the key. Education is the key. That again, that's the springboard for us. But then when people are hindering the education process for people, then that tells you that it's no springboard no longer. But then also your thoughts with regards to why education is important and how politics basically can impact education.
Well, let me give you an example of what I'm saying. Did you know that there were some African Americans that were put in jail? I want to say back maybe in the 90s, and they were out registering people to vote in a county in the state of Georgia. And after they went out and got all of these people registered and they got them to the poll to vote, the politics of that county changed. These African Americans were elected to office. The state intervened. And when they intervened, none other than the current governor was the chief intervener. And a couple of those people went to jail. They had not violated the law. They just got people registered and got them out to vote. Eventually, these people were set free, and eventually some were reelected, but it changed their lives. It really changed their lives. Some of their lives were devastated. Some of them lost their place in where they were. There are people in rural counties that live under that threat. And in living under that threat, they're afraid to go out and vote because they are in fear that somebody gonna see them voting and somebody gonna be upset because they're voting. Different kinds of pressures. We got to go out and work with those communities and educate those people and show those people that the only way that you're going to overcome this tyranny is to vote it out. And the only way that you're going to be able to vote it out is to get registered yourself, to make your one vote count. If I make my one vote count and you make your one vote count, that's 2 votes. So we got to show people the power of voting and the power of the numbers that they bring. We are already in the game. We're trying to get you in the game. We're trying to get your family in the game. So we need to educate people around us and assure them that we're going to be standing with them when someone comes for them. And someone will come for them.
Powerful statement. Powerful statement you just uttered, what you just shared, and again tied to voter suppression. And then you called out individuals that we still see, and guess what? We see the evolution of that even today with regards to what we see with regards to even a bottle of water is a problem. A bottle of water, let's say for an elder that might need to take their medication, that a bottle of water, that we now criminalize a bottle of water. Not people trying to influence, but a bottle of water has not been criminalized. And this is what we're looking at, and this is what they're going to do to suppress voters. And so I'm going to let you know this, Major Phillips, we got 3 more minutes left. With regards to this, actually 2 more minutes based on our producer. So we're going to give you, make a statement, what you want the people to know, the last 2 minutes, and we'll go from there. We'll be closing on out, but we're going to let you go ahead and get the last 2 minutes.
Well, I don't think I have 2 minutes left in me, but
excuse me. Well, I'll throw this out here. You were saying our organizations. If you want to say our organization, what can our organizations do? Because there's a host of organizations.
I think every organization that's really involved and really understand what the issues are should be educating people uh, on what they can do to help themselves in terms of voter education, voter registration. And then when people get to the poll, I can't tell anybody uh, who to vote for, but I can tell people this: don't skip around your ballot. Vote down your ballot. Know who's on your ballot. If you don't know, Google them. You know, you can Google who's running for what and learn for yourself. Don't take my word. Go look for yourself and see who best represents you and who's going to be able to help you, but not just you, the next generation and the generation after that. That's what's important to me. You know, at my age, I got kids and grandkids, and I want to ensure that they still have the freedoms that I enjoy right now, that we enjoy right now. Understanding that there are those out there that are trying to take away our freedoms. That there are those out there that are trying to take away our ability to give the less privileged an opportunity for a better education. So, you know, really, what's at stake here? And to be frank, all of our lives, our way of life is at stake here. I don't know about you, but I'm going to the polls to vote, and I'm going to be voting down the ballot, and I'm going to be voting for those who represent me, my views, and my needs, my concerns. Thank you for having me, Jamal.
Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Glad to again. It's Major Anthony Phillips. When y'all see him around the area throughout Georgia, understand this is a person who's out there. He's one of the stalwarts out there trying to make a change. And this has been Run Tell That with Major Phillips, and we had Dr. Robert Bryan with us. And we said, all of y'all, remember to vote, 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 vote. It is essential that you vote. Somebody tell you not to vote, they are an enemy to you and to democracy. This has been Run Tell That. Check out all the shows on our platform on Our Black Media. We'll see y'all next week. The Rabbles coming up. Peace and blessings.